And back. Okay, so...
It doesn't make sense to set off for the mission now. I don't want to be wandering about in the jungle after dark. I'll spend the night here in the camp. Chasing after our scientists will have to wait until tomorrow. I'll set up the motion sensors and build a nice big fire to keep the beasties at bay. A sensor with... I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand.
I was thinking buried in the sand underneath that.
This sensor has a... I'm thinking that the sensor belongs... The working range of this... I'm thinking that the sensor... This sensor has a working... I'm thinking that... Looks like the sensors are set up according to plan. There. All done. Now I'm gonna get some shut-eye. And in the morning, I'll head to the mission and track down this research team.
What
are they? Animals? Nasty. I need to scare them off somehow. This is getting really weird. Those red eyes. There must be more than a dozen of them out there. Perhaps I can find something to scare them off before they realize my fire isn't so scary after all. Like hell I will. I'm staying right by the fire, no mistake. Maybe it'll give them a fright. They're gone. Hopefully they're gonna stay gone too. It won't be too long now until sunrise. What a night. I never got back to sleep. What were those things? Hey, maybe I caught them on camera.
I was thinking the same thing.
What the?
Ooh.
In all the horror movies I've ever watched, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. Looks like made out of stone.
It's a westerly direction to get to the mission. Professor, I'm on my way. The mission. At last. Hello? Anyone home?
God be praised, my child. What can I do for you?
My name is Samantha Peters. I'm looking for a group of scientists. Their leader is called Professor Hartman. According to the notes I found in their camp, they were headed here before they disappeared.
Yes, the men you're looking for arrived here yesterday.
Finally, I've caught up.
They are dead.
Can you take me to them?
Unfortunately, that's not possible. They are in quarantine.
Quarantine?
They are very ill. They have high fevers and are unresponsive. Nobody is allowed near them until the doctor gets here. We want to avoid any possible spread of the disease.
Can't I at least have a brief talk with Professor Hartman? It really is very important.
The professor isn't here.
Not here. Where is he?
If I've understood the men correctly, they were attacked at night and the professor was taken away.
Damn it. Do you know who attacked them?
You have to go now, my child. It is not safe here when the darkness falls.
What aren't you telling me? What is it that you're so afraid of? I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on here.
Child, I just want to protect you. If I let you in, you could become infected. And outside, you are not safe from the...
Yes, not safe from what? In the scientist's notes, it says that one of them was attacked by some animal species he didn't recognize before he became ill.
That was no animal.
Well, what was it then? For Christ's sakes! Oh, forgive me.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Listen, sister. You will now talk, or else I will break the 5th commandment. Who ambushed the scientists and dragged off the professor?
They come from above. The trees.
Locals? Rebels? Hunters?
No, not humans.
Well, what then? Not animals? Not humans? Aliens, perhaps?
The Asanbosam.
Asanbosam?
Yeah,
I've never heard of him.
Ancient Ashanti legends tell of strange nighttime beings that lurk in wait for their victims among the boughs of the trees. They pluck unfortunate souls from the ground using their long, sharp claws and then drag them off to their caves where they then suck the blood from their victims' bodies.
So what does your boss have to say about your believing in such blasphemous scare stories?
Scare stories? When you have lived among the Ashanti as long as I have, there's very little that appears unbelievable.
Let's reel this conversation back in from the nether regions of God's asshole and stick to the facts. I shot this photo last night. This little freak was one of a whole group sitting in the trees above me. Might this be one of your Asanbosam?
Holy Maria, Mother of God, you can count your blessings that you are still alive, my child.
So these freaks really have schlepped off the professor then? Suppose it's true. Where would the Asanbosam take their victims?
Into their caves.
I got that bit. Where are they exactly?
My child, you really don't want to go there.
Yes, I do. There's one hell of a real scoop of a story there for sure. And I just might be able to save the professor while I'm at it. That is, as long as these things haven't sucked him dry already.
Then I really won't be able to stop you, my child. Wait here a moment. This will be a great help to you on your reckless undertaking. Take it.
What is it?
Some intense studies of the Asanbosam and Ashanti legends.
Thanks.
May the Lord watch over you.
This is where the notes begin.
Not really.
So there were already patients at the mission with the same symptoms as the scientists.
I'll just check what she says.
So were these men under attack from the same creatures?
Scammer. You can pause and read. So desire.
Let's see. Here it is. The attackers came out of the trees and surrounded them. Interesting. There had also been similar cases in the past.
Jaundice.
The locals call the attackers the Asanbosam. They're also supposed to be responsible for transmitting a virus. The old Ashanti shamans were able to control these mysterious beings and could protect themselves from the disease. The priest found himself in great danger on his quest for the antidote. The Asanbosam exist. Now it's gonna get interesting. Ugh, Such a lot of text. The priest stumbled across one of these Asanbosam and followed him to a cave. The translation of the inscriptions at the cave entrance brought something astonishing to light. It detailed a description of a ritual which could protect against catching the Asanbosam disease, and which could also cure it.
The shamans burning certain ingredients in a pot next to the entrance to the caves before they entered the cave to cleanse themselves and the spirit of the mixture. I intend to use this ritual on your patients here.
They carried out the ritual, and despite no ready explanations for how, it worked. These experiences really rocked Father Samuel's concept of the world. This is where it lists what you need for the ritual and how to carry it out.
Okay, it's always flowers. Rose herb, twig, hyacinth, alyssum, star lily blossom, blossom from the garret. Okay, 401 can enter the home of the Asanbosam. One must first cleanse oneself in the smoke. Do this when spreading the following ingredients in a pot directly next to the entrance of the cave. Pure alcohol, sugar, ant secretions. Oh, so that's where the ants come in. At least 5 examples required. I wonder how many ants were on that log. These are the herbs and plants. Okay.
It's incredible. I suppose I have to accustom myself to the notion that the Asanbosam may not be pure fiction. The priest's very convincing. Unfortunately, he took his knowledge of the route to the cave to the grave with him. At least I now know how I can protect myself from the Asanbosam disease. When I find out where they're hiding, I still might be able to rescue the professor. Oh, a loose page has fallen out. It's blank. Looks like the Goethe plant. I'll pluck myself a blossom from it.
Goethe plant?
A few stems of alyssum also need to go in the pot.
What do I have?
Star lily. Very pretty. 1 blossom for my hair, 1 for the ritual, and 1 to stamp under my feet as an expression of rebellion. That reminds me. What's a blonde doing when she's staring at an empty sheet of paper? According to my last boyfriend, she's reading her rights. Har bloody har. One blossom from the hyacinth is enough, according to the diary. I ought to concentrate on the plants I need, as listed in the diary. I ought to concentrate on the plant. I ought to concentrate on the... I ought to... That... Nothing good comes from interacting with gravestones. Julius, 1767 to 1832. Here lie my mortal remains. I just wish they were yours. That's terrible. Sister Josephine, 1852 to 1904. Here rest her bones, and for the first time, alone. Cheeky. Billy, 1907 to 2006. Only the good die young. Either he had a low opinion of himself or a wicked sense of humor. On the gravestone it says, J.H.M. Excuse me for not standing up. Must have been a proper gentleman. Or a Groucho Marx fan. Father Samuel's grave. Strange. No epitaph, no date of birth, no date when he died. Just the name. Oh, and 9 curious symbols chiseled into the stone. Looks like lines and trees.
No dates or anything. Oh, but 9 symbols. Yeah.
A clay bowl. We used to make things like this in school, but mine were never as nice as this one. Great. That lets me transfer the symbols onto the paper. The pencils had it, but I've now got perfect copies of the 9 symbols on Father Samuel's gravestone. I've transferred the ornamentation from the gravestone onto the paper. Okay, I'll carefully cut out the different symbols. I can't exactly say I'm crazy about puzzles. I'll take this part as my starting piece.
Yeah, perfect.
The route to the Asanbosam's caves. The Asanbosam's caves must be near here. Hopefully the professor's doing all right. The entrance to the caves, and no sign of the professor. I'd better go in and take a look. After carrying out the written instructions for Father Samuel's protection ritual, of course. I have absolutely no inclination to go catching hideous jungle monster disease. The pot's empty. It's actually here. Weird. There are no birds, no animal calls. Even the bats seem to be frightened to make a rustle. I'm not superstitious, but why take an unnecessary risk? Without the protection ritual, not even 10 Asanbosam could get me into those caves. Let's not get greedy. I've got the clay bowl already. And in it goes. And in it goes. And in it...
Pure alcohol, sugar, and secretion. I don't know how I'm going to get that. Where's the alcohol? Sugar I can get from lemonade.
The diary doesn't instruct the char grilling of the ingredients. Let's decant this delicate brew.
Oh, I can put it on when I fire again. Where the hell?
A sleeping bag. Cuddly, warm, but also an accurate description of my ex-boyfriend. I'll check the first aid kit.
Ah, forgot to do that. We got painkillers, pure alcohol, hey! And we need hand stuff. Sugar, okay. I can do, hopefully, at the end. Fire. Magic. Look at that light switch.
Home economics is for housewives. Boiling the lemonades produced a thick, sticky syrup. That should work. Gotcha. The ant stuck to the brush. Almost too easy. I had to give it a go with chopsticks. Gotcha. One more. A respectable kill. Peters, the big small game hunter.
Okay, that should be enough. It's the kids. Sugar. Yeah.
And in it goes. So, that ought to be all the ingredients.
Line her ass up.
Let's see what happens. Ugh, the way that stinks, just the smoke could keep pretty much anything away from me. Whoa, was that one of those things? A mask with eyes, mouth, and some kind of war paint. Even more passages. Really does seem to be more extensive than I first thought. There's a mask hanging on the wall here as well. The obligatory mask. The obligatory... Are the Asanbosam fans of masquerade balls?
Sure.
It's like some kind of graphic novel. The story begins with a man choosing children from a large group. They follow him into a cave, and the door closes after them. The children continue to live there while the man teaches them to fight. The man also gives them food, and so the children gradually grow into men. But what is that? The children seem to change on the way. Their arms become longer, and they get great big fangs like predatory animals. Pretty gruesome. Looks like one of those weird lamps they sell in the Scandinavian furnishing store around the corner back home.
Yeah.
I feel like it's there for a reason. Best leave it alone for now. Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
Oh, now you call it a lamp. Shitbag.
The resin's burning.
It's 3 people. Yeah, that's where it came from. Believe, yeah.
The obligatory mask. Not the slightest trace of Prof. Hartman. Only more passages that lead deeper into the caves. Let's fuel this lamp.
Can I not put this somewhere else? Guess not. Okay, now it's like a deed pointing to his right or my left. Pointing to I'll just say left.
Was that an animal? Or a human? Or...
Yeah.
Let's fuel this lamp and see what...
A reddish orangey, rocky looking thing. That it looks like a little bee down there. Possibly, maybe that's supposed to be a statue or something. Okay, so three people thing, deep, pointing ish to the left at the worst beat, and reddish orange. Okay. Wait, that just came out of there. Yeah.
What is with all these masks? Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
Guy with a bowl. Okay.
Out of order.
Okay.
This mask doesn't have a mouth. It must mean something.
I don't think that was the first one. Okay.
This mechanism with the 5 stone wheels would appear to open the door in this room.
Three guys. Doesn't have the key. Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I looked at. Okay, so it's the cave. Oh, dude. But I still have one I'm missing. There's pointing left.
Nothing.
Let's see, maybe the three guys. Okay, that might be.
Nothing.
But I don't have one. So more than
Nothing.
I can brute force it.
Nothing.
Why not? Yeah, let's play by the rules. That's back in. In there. Okay, so that goes back. Okay, round and round we go.
Let's fuel this lamp.
And it's the bow and arrow guy. But of course. Round and round we go. Alrighty. For a guy thing, it's hard to tell. So this is, yeah. That was funny. I think I already had the bow and arrow dude right from the beginning. I just didn't click the button.
Professor! Those damn creatures. Things are getting tight here. The battery's almost empty.
Oh, I have fresh batteries.
Herr Professor! Professor Hartman, can you hear me? He's obviously in some considerable pain. I'm not going to be able to move him until those wounds are patched up and he's feeling better.
Okay, medical kit. Oh yeah, I used that. There we go.
And that should keep the blood off my clothes, and, broadly speaking, inside him. At least until I get him out of here. I ought to take a look at his wounds, and give him something for the pain before we get moving. Here, get these down, you prof.
For pain?
That will have to do until we get back to the mission.
Shall.
Don't worry, Professor. I'll get us out of here.
2 days later.
Hey, Professor. You look considerably less shit than you did when I found you 2 days ago. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Thank you for the expressive compliment. The sisters have looked after us quite devotedly. And of course, my deepest thanks to you for your getting me out of there, Miss...
Peters. Sam Peters.
Ah, and you are the journalist. Please forgive me for setting off without you, but the situation left me with no other choice.
Forgiven and forgotten. If you give me the story as promised.
Of course.
So you have a few minutes for me then?
Take a long look at me. Do I look like I've got anything else planned? I'm just not entirely sure that I'll be able to give you all of the answers.
Let's find out.
You want to know what the Asanbosam are?
Spill it, Prof.
They are humans, I'm sure of that. Did you see the wall paintings in the caves?
Yeah.
The Ashanti were always a very secretive people with an extraordinary bond with nature. As with all native peoples, their living space also forms the basis for their existence. They naturally defend it with every means at their disposal. At some point, the Ashanti shaman must have realized that they would not be able to defend their lands indefinitely from outsiders. They therefore trained up some quite exceptional warriors.
The ritual that's shown in the cave paintings.
Correct.
But those things don't appear to be human in any way. What happened?
Well, it happens that there is a particular species of snail, which is incidentally the reason we were here at Lake Bosumtwi in the first place.
Whose genome has changed through eating the algae brought here by the meteorite.
Yes, exactly. The algae may have been carrying a virus, which, over a relatively short period of time, triggers a rapid genetic mutation in a species. There are supporting cases. On the Indonesian island of Flores, they found the fossilized remains of a very small but adult human who was a genetic successor to Homo erectus. All evidence suggests this subspecies of dwarves evolved in only a few generations as a result of their isolated environment and in response to the narrow, low-ceilinged cave systems of the region.
An unbelievable evolutionary step.
Relative to conventional evolution, this process really did take place at the speed of light.
As with the Asanbosam.
Possibly. Perhaps, as with the snail and the algae, the virus is the explanatory factor across all these examples.
How far does this go?
Perhaps the shaman knew that the algae possessed some form of mutational capability and raised his warriors on it. The terrifying result you've witnessed firsthand.
Then these warriors are designed with the sole purpose of keeping outsiders like us away.
That is my interpretation, yes.
And what about this disease they carry?
That, alas, is one of the questions I cannot currently answer. The Asanbosam themselves appear to be immune to it. Perhaps it's a further defense mechanism.
Do you think that they killed anyone?
No, at least not directly. The evidence so far suggests they were designed to keep potential aggressors at bay, not to actively eliminate them.
So what now? As snail research goes, Professor, this story is more sensational than most.
That may well be the case.
But?
The shaman and the Ashanti have only been acting in the best interests of their people and in perceived self-defense.
And that justifies their turning children into monsters?
We don't have to approve morally. But does morality apply in the case of survival? Doesn't every nation do reprehensible things every day in the name of survival? Clearly, we are not the first Westerners to come here, and I doubt the intentions of all such visitors are as benign as our own. In this special case, I have to ask myself, even as a scientist, is knowing the answers more important than doing the right thing?
Answers are what we're paid for.
Then I hope never to see the day that we run out of questions. Do what you think is right.
So, I have to make a decision. Should I go ahead and publish the story?
I would say the correct answer would be no. Why not? Now, let's keep it quiet. Now, you haven't found all the answers yet. Why would you publish something that you haven't found all? Just kidding. Okay, yeah, you haven't found everything. Just wait till you do.
I simply didn't have the heart. May a cloak of silence remain forever over the existence of the Asanbosam. Freedom really is so much more important than anything else. Talking of freedom, that's something I can also enjoy limitlessly, though sadly not on my little sailboat. When I got back to Hamburg without a single line of copy, my editor flipped and bounced me back onto the street. Whether or not he managed to get over the small heart attack that followed, I'm afraid I don't know. And frankly, I don't give a damn.
Don't give a damn.
It's time for me to drop by on Max in Berlin again. Perhaps he'll finally even introduce me to his beloved Nina. From the way he went on about her in Indonesia, I don't think they'll be apart for too long. And maybe he'll have a fabulously lucrative job for me and get that sailboat back on track.
Oh, that was it? Okay, can I reload? Oh, damn. I just want to answer yes now. I don't want to have to play the whole freaking thing again. I had to manually save. Are you kidding me? Damn, if I knew that, I would have just saved it. Yeah, I'm not going through all that again. Well, obviously, we'll just say that we'll just say that, yeah, she did submit the article, blah, blah, blah. She got her sales page, got a promotion in her job, and became chief editor, yada, yada, yada. Sailing off the sunset. Well, this was shorter than I expected today. It's one of the many free games I've got on Amazon Prime. So, obviously, it's still pretty cool. Overall, I liked it. It wasn't just repeated typical puzzles either. Cool. Anyway, until next time, peace out.